The New Orleans Saints are sitting on something the rest of the NFL is treating like a quiet little rebuild, and that mistake might get people embarrassed. This team is not moving like a club waiting around for the future. They gave Tyler Shough real help, put Travis Etienne Jr. behind him, added David Edwards up front, brought in Jordan Tyson to stretch the field, and still kept Chris Olave as the steady weapon defenses already respect. That is not a small adjustment. That is a front office telling you the plan has changed. And the strange part is, the biggest noise is not even coming from the offense yet. Kellen Moore now has a young quarterback with a cleaner pocket, faster targets, and a backfield that forces defenses to pause before they attack. Then on the other side, Brandon Staley gets a front built around Chase Young, Carl Granderson, and Tyree Wilson, with one hidden name sitting behind the curtain. Michael Heldman is not famous yet, but the way New Orleans chased him tells you they saw something other teams missed. That is where this story starts to feel different. The league keeps looking at last season's record and acting like the Saints are still stuck in the same place. Bad read. This roster got younger where it needed speed, stronger where it needed protection, and deeper where games are won late. The NFC South is not locked by anybody, and New Orleans knows it. So before anyone laughs at the idea of a Saints jump, look at the one position that changed the whole timeline first, because everything now depends on how far Tyler Shough is ready to climb. Most young quarterbacks do not change a building this fast, but Tyler Shough forced the New Orleans Saints to stop guessing and start planning. He was not handed a perfect offense. He stepped into a damaged season, with pressure everywhere, and somehow made the whole thing feel alive again. His first stretch gave New Orleans a reason to believe the future had arrived early. That is dangerous. The proof is not loud, it is steady. Tyler Shough finished his rookie season with 67.6% completions, 2,384 passing yards, 10 touchdown passes, and a 91.3 passer rating. Those are not empty numbers from soft moments. They came while the Saints were trying to find rhythm, protection, and trust at the same time. He won 5 of his 9 starts, and the final month felt different. The ball came out cleaner. The pocket looked less chaotic. The offense stopped feeling like it was thriving and started acting like it had a direction. Fans saw more than stats. They saw a quarterback who did not blink when the season got heavy. That is why this offseason matters so much. Kellen Moore did not walk into year 2 with a mystery at quarterback. Walked in with a young passer who already showed timing, toughness, and the calm to finish games when the season was slipping away. Now the pressure moves from hope to expectation. If Tyler Shough could lift the floor with a limited setup, then the real question is nasty for the rest of the division. What happens when Mickey Loomis gives him protection, a stronger run game, and more speed outside? That is where the Saints stop talking and start spending real money fast all around him right now completely. The first sign New Orleans was serious did not come from a speech. It came from the money. Mickey Loomis looked at Tyler Shough, looked at the pressure around him, and refused to pretend the same broken setup was enough. So the Saints attacked the body of the offense. Not the shiny part first, the hard part. The part that keeps a young quarterback from getting swallowed. That is why David Edwards matters. A guard is not the name casual fans run to, but this one changes the math before the ball is even snapped. New Orleans gave him a deal reported at 4 years and $61 million because the pocket had to stop caving in. Put him next to Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, then let Kelvin Banks Jr. and Talaise Fuaga hold the edges, and suddenly Kellen Moore can call the game without fear living in every dropback. That is not a small upgrade, that is oxygen for the whole offense. Then came Travis Etienne Jr. and the picture got sharper. His deal was reported at 4 years and $52 million, and the message was clear. New Orleans wanted a runner who can hit lanes, catch passes, and punish defenses for staring too long at Chris Olave or Jordan Tyson. This is how you protect Tyler Shough without asking him to be a hero every snap. You give him balance, you give him time, you give him answers, you make second down friendly, you force linebackers to step forward. Because now the Saints can threaten every blade of grass without rushing the process for him. And once the Saints fixed the bones of this offense, the next question became even scarier. What does Kellen Moore do when the play sheet is finally wide open? Now the scary part is not that Kellen Moore has more talent, it is that he finally has choices. Last year, the New Orleans Saints offense often had to fight uphill because defenses could crowd the quick game, squeeze Chris Olave, and dare the rest of the field to win. That kind of setup makes every throw feel heavy. This version does not. That means every safe throw now carries danger behind it, and every deep look has a shorter answer waiting underneath. For a young quarterback, that is how chaos turns into rhythm fast. And rhythm is the thing New Orleans chased all offseason. With Travis Etienne Jr. in the backfield, linebackers cannot sprint backward on every snap. With David Edwards helping the middle of the line, Tyler Shough gets cleaner pockets and fewer rush decisions. Then Jordan Tyson enters as the fresh problem, a first-round rookie receiver who can separate early, threaten deep, and punish one-on-one coverage. Add Noah Fant and Oscar Delp, and suddenly Saints can attack with speed, size, and easy throws instead of asking one route to save the drive. This is where Moore becomes dangerous. He can slow the game down for Shough without shrinking the offense. Play action gets stronger, screens become harder to read. Tight ends can hide inside before slipping into space. Olawe no longer has to carry every answer by himself, and Tyson no longer has to be the hero on day one. That balance is the trap. Defenses will think they solved one piece, then the ball goes somewhere else. But weapons alone do not win a division. The next layer is the young draft class that quietly gave New Orleans more than a headline name. The best draft classes do not feel loud on day one, they feel useful. That is what the New Orleans Saints built. Jordan Tyson gets the spotlight because top picks always do, and he should. But the real story is how many different problems this class tries to solve at once. Speed outside, size inside, tight end help, return juice, defensive depth. This was not one swing, it was a full roster repair job. Not every pick needs headlines, but every pick has a job, and that is how serious teams build depth. Tyson gives Tyler Shough another receiver who can win early in the route, which matters when a young passer needs clean answers. Kristen Miller brings a heavy body into the middle, and that matters because New Orleans needed more bite against the run. Oscar Delp gives Kellen Moore a tight end who can block, slip into space, and make the offense less predictable. Then Jeremiah Wright adds another guard to develop behind the veterans, which keeps the line plan from being one injury away from panic. The late picks are where this class gets sneaky. Bryce Lance gives the room another wideout with size. Lorenzo Styles Jr. adds safety depth, Barion Brown brings return value and open field speed. TJ Hall gives the corner room another young body to mold. None of those names have to save the season right away, and that is the point. The stars already have pressure. These rookies can grow into roles while the veterans carry the early load. But when a draft class fills this many small cracks, the roster starts looking different fast. And that sets up the defensive question New Orleans still has to answer. Did Brandon Staley get enough force up front to make this team scary again? The offense got help, but the New Orleans Saints know pretty football means nothing if the quarterback across from them stays comfortable. That is why Brandon Staley walking into this defense matters. He is not being asked to babysit a finished group. He is being asked to reshape the attitude up front, make the pocket feel crowded, and turn long drives into rushed mistakes. The names give him a real starting point. Chase Young brings burst off the edge. Carl Granderson gives the front length, power, and steady pressure. Then New Orleans added Tyree Wilson, a former first-round edge with the kind of frame that can wreck blocking plans if the fit finally clicks. Add Anthony Jennings and Caden Ellis, and suddenly this is not one pass rusher trying to save every third down. It is a rotation. It is fresh legs. It is different bodies attacking from different angles, forcing offenses to keep guessing before the snap. That kind of depth lets Staley protect late leads without burning out his best rushers too early either. That is the change Saints fans should watch closely. Staley can move pieces, disguise pressure, and create matchups instead of sending the same look over and over. Wilson can kick inside on certain downs. Young can attack space. Granderson can punish tackles who overset. Ellis can bring heat from linebacker depth. The defense does not have to be perfect in week one. It has to grow meaner every month. And if that front starts winning early, the whole season changes fast. Because the offense can score, but the defense can steal games. Still, one name in this room makes the mystery even deeper, and he did not arrive with draft night cameras around him. The name most fans missed is Michael Heldman, and that is exactly why this part feels dangerous. The New Orleans Saints did not draft him, did not place him on a stage, and did not sell him as the face of anything. They quietly moved after the draft and treated an undrafted rookie edge like a player they could not let escape. That is the kind of move front offices make when the board tells a different story than the headlines. Heldman comes from Central Michigan, not some giant program built for weekly national noise. That makes the bet even more interesting. He brings size, burst, and real pass rush production, but the bigger point is the fit. Brandon Staley does not need him to walk in and save the defense. He needs him to fight into a rotation behind Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Tyree Wilson, and Anfernee Jennings. That is a perfect place for a hungry young rusher. Less pressure, more chances, cleaner matchups, a clear job to win. And this is where the Saints story gets sharper. If Heldman flashes early, New Orleans suddenly has one more cheap weapon in the most expensive area of football. That changes how Staley can call games late. It changes how fresh the front stays in December. It changes how quarterbacks feel when the first wave finally needs a breather. Nobody should crown him yet, because camp hype can fool people fast. But nobody should ignore him either. The money, the need, and the path all point to one thing. That is not hype. That is a real roster pressure point now. The Saints believe there is something here. And if that hidden edge becomes real, the final question gets much bigger. Is this division ready for what New Orleans is building? The final piece is not hype. It is the road in front of the New Orleans Saints. This division is sitting there, wide open, waiting for one team to stop acting careful and take it. Last season, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta all finished at 8-9. New Orleans was behind them at 6-11, but the gap was not some mountain. It was 2 games, a cleaner offense, and a defense that needed more teeth. That is why the Saints cannot be treated like a normal last-place team. Bryce Young has Carolina moving forward, Baker Mayfield keeps Tampa Bay dangerous, and Michael Penix Jr. gives Atlanta a real shot to grow. Respect all of that, but none of those teams are untouchable. New Orleans now has Tyler Shough entering year 2, Kellen Moore with more answers, Travis Etienne Jr. changing the run game, Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson stretching coverage, and Brandon Staley building pressure up front. The schedule adds pressure to the whole story. New Orleans sits with the second easiest path by opponent record, listed at .434, and the late stretch drags the fight straight back into the division. That matters. December football does not care about offseason jokes. It rewards teams that protect the quarterback, run the ball, rush the passer, and grow at the right time. The Saints have built a roster trying to do all 4. 10 wins is not a wild dream if Shough climbs, the line holds, and the defense finds bite. And that is why this ending cannot feel like a prediction. It must feel like a warning. The question now is simple. Are the Saints hiding a monster, or are they ready to show it?